President-elect Donald Trump wants to put a cap on interest rates. So please, I'm asking you, don't be disrespectful to each other in the comments. I want this to be an open discussion so everyone can stay informed, because this can have a massive rippling effect across the entire credit industry. But before we jump into this video, make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button so this video gets out to more people so everyone can stay informed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video.
While working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates.
I beg your pardon?
We're going to cap it at around 10%. We can't let them make 25 and 30%.
Sensational.
This single policy can be relief for millions of Americans across the United States that are drowning in credit card debt. But the big question here is, can it truly actually happen? Because you're not just up against any politicians, Republicans or Democrats, or whoever it may be in between. It's not just about politics. It's about dealing with the big banks. These big banks have millions and billions of dollars that they can fight the US government on this, and that's what I see as the biggest problem. Because let's be honest, are the big banks just gonna sit back and lose billions of dollars and be like, all right, you know, it's not a big deal, everybody. We'll figure it out. I personally believe that politicians can come together to actually make this happen, but will the big banks not fight back is the real big question, right? Let's see exactly what the American Bankers Association had to say about this.
We don't know the specific details of this proposal. ABA has opposed similar interest rate cap proposals in the past.
I beg your pardon?
Including one from Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez during the 2020 campaign.
A lot of people do not understand that this was a huge topic that got pushed to the wayside in 2020. That's not all they had to say.
Because they would result in the loss of credit for the very consumers who need it the most. They
I beg your pardon?
Say instead these consumers would be forced to use less regulated, more risky alternatives, including payday lenders and loan sharks.
The biggest problem that we always see when politics try to get involved in the finance world is they don't really understand the ramifications of what does this actually look like? Could this be detrimental to the rest of the actual credit card economy out there? Yeah, because you're going to lose billions of dollars that are otherwise coming from interest rates. And listen, I know that Americans need relief. I really truly understand that. And I believe wholeheartedly, yeah, this would be tremendous for them. But what would happen if it actually went through? Banks aren't dumb. They're not just going to sit there and take it. One, they're going to file a lawsuit against this administration. And then two, if it does go through, they'll just slash everyone's credit limits. Because a lot of Americans do not understand that a credit card is basically a short-term loan. They just pretty it up with a nice little shiny card, and every month they're literally giving you a short-term loan, which is the highest risk out there. That's the reason why interest rates are so high. And a lot of Americans don't really truly understand that. They're like, I just don't understand why the interest rate has to be so high. Well, I don't understand why you don't pay your actual credit card bill in full every month, right? If you know the interest rate is gonna hit, then you shouldn't be using that if you don't have the money. That's the thought process that normal people have, but unfortunately, a lot of Americans are strapped right now and they're running to credit as their last resort. I wanna give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using Dispute Beast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created, and specifically to Wesley, Wesley's credit score went up over 226 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And also Marcus's credit score went up 337 points after just 2 rounds with Dispute Beast. And let's not forget Richard's credit score went up 446 points after just 1 round with Dispute Beast. Dispute Beast is going to be pinned at the very top of the comments and in the video description for anybody that needs to fix their credit. Last part's the most important. And we talked about this before, how the Biden administration was trying to put a cap on late fees, just simply late fees on credit card payments. They wanted to put a cap at $8. And guess what? It got passed, it went through, and then bam, the Bankers Associations got together and they sued the Biden administration to halt it immediately. And here's the thing that I don't understand about politics, is they make a big announcement about what they're gonna do, so all of these banks can prepare because they want them to to prepare. But at the end of the day, look what happens. A federal judge temporarily halts Biden's plan to lower credit card late fees to $8. Not even days after it went into effect, they struck him with this lawsuit. And as I said earlier, banks aren't stupid. Look at exactly what they did. Let me read this little snippet. Critics of the lawsuit have called the case the latest example of judicial forum shopping, where a company files a lawsuit in a friendly district in order to have a greater likelihood of getting a favorable ruling. But here's the crazier part about this whole story about late fees. As an example, remember, this is an example of what can actually happen. This is also a win for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which led the lawsuit on behalf of banks. So the lawsuit was literally led by the U.S. government against something that can help consumers. So my biggest concern here is, will the same thing happen and Trump get literally deadlocked and he can't go anywhere, do anything? Because millions of Americans truly do need this relief. It would be amazing if people can go from 30% interest rate all the way down to 10. It would save them thousands of dollars every single year until they can get caught up, because this is supposed to be a temporary thing, not a permanent one. Remember that. But if this does happen, that's going to mean relief for millions of Americans and help them save thousands of dollars. And that's exactly what we want. We should want to help each other better ourselves as Americans out there. But unfortunately, the big banks are not just going to sit down and let this happen. But mark my words, if it does happen, they're going to slash everyone's credit limits. So you can go from having a $20,000 credit limit all the way down to $5,000. They may take your credit limits all the way down to the actual balance of your credit cards for those who are not actually maxed out. Because remember, credit is all about risk. The bigger the balances that you're carrying, the higher the risk you are to the bank. So they may lower those balances all the way, they may lower those limits all the way down to their balance. And then the people that aren't using their credit cards, they'll just snatch those credit limits right out from underneath you, and it can cause your actual utilization to shoot to the moon if you're carrying any balances. Or it can destroy your credit profile when you go from having $20,000 credit limits all the way down to $5,000, $2,000, or even possibly $500. Now, hear me out. This isn't meant to fear monger or scare anybody, but make you aware of what could potentially happen if this goes through, because again, we want to help other Americans out there. But tell me what you think in the comments. Is this truly going to help Americans, or is it time that Americans start being more financially responsible? But we're about close to 2 months away from Trump taking office, so we won't know anything until around January and see if he puts it on the top of the list for Americans or it just falls to the wayside. We won't know until that time happens and he takes office. But if anything changes, I will be here first to let you know and give you a serious update. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered another big one about slashing interest rates and is it possible? And make sure that you watch this next video because it is about a new credit card that's about to come out that you may want to learn about. And if you feel that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.